You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys. Good morning. Well, holy freaking cow. Talk about news to wake up to. If you didn't hear it real time, Sunday afternoon. Timestamp, Captain's Log, July 14th, 2024. One of the craziest things that's ever happened in politics, craziest things ever happened in America. An assassination attempt on former President Donald J. Trump, presidential nominee Donald J. Trump for 47th president. Folks, I don't usually weigh in too much on current events, but I felt inclined to talk about this one for a couple of minutes and just give me a little latitude on today's podcast. All right, whether you're Democrat or Republican, liberal, conservative, libertarian, or other, it doesn't matter right now. I did want to make a point off of this just crazy scenario, crazy situation, and I'm sure we'll learn a whole bunch more as we go. If you guys didn't know, if you guys are living under a rock, Trump was giving a rally in Pennsylvania, and I guess some crazy person took a shot at him, and of course he was put down immediately. The assassinator, whatever you call him, the assassin to be. Trump got grazed in the ear or shot in the ear, and hopefully, and it looks like he's been doing okay. The crazy part of this, amongst a million different angles of this, right, is what I want to talk about for a couple of minutes, which has been on my mind for many, many years. And sometimes it's hard to talk about topics like this because you don't want to, you never know where things are coming from, right? When somebody's hosting a podcast or a YouTube video and they pick a topic or they film some content, you don't know where they're coming from. Like, somebody's doing a review video, like, is it their own money that they buy it with? Do they get sent that product for free? Do they get paid $1, $2, $5, $10 grand, $100 grand, $1 million to talk nice about it? Who knows? When somebody does a podcast and that host is fired up or frustrated or angry or happy, excited, like, you don't know what's going on in that person's life real time, right? The reason I wanted to talk about this assassination attempt, and again, I'm not a big current events kind of guy on our podcast. I like to keep it long, I like to keep it landscaping. A lot of you guys know where I stand politically. I'm a very conservative person. Trump will be my pick. If you don't like that, that's okay. I respect your choice. Respect mine, would you? But I do like policy over people. I look at the platforms. Okay. Neither candidate is great. Neither candidate is Jesus, just so we're clear. So I'm just going to leave that one there for right now. But what I will say is an interesting angle. I listened to some morning shows and on politics. I'm a big Politico. I try to keep it off the podcast as much as possible, just to keep it neutral. And again, it's a lot longer landscaping, but a really interesting analogy that somebody had brought up on a morning show here was they asked, hey, what is the other camp? And if you're a Democrat liberal, just relax for a second, okay? I'm not attacking you personally. I'm just talking about the broad conversation going on right now. And again, both sides are crazy. I'm not going to go down that route. But they made a good point that they said, what is the Biden camp going to do post this assassination attempt, failed assassination attempt, right? And they said, hopefully reduce the rhetoric or calm down the rhetoric because just 2 days ago, and I don't know the whole length of it. I don't get to catch everything, of course, busy going 100 miles an hour over here. But they had said something around the lines of, just last Friday, Biden was doing a speech and called Trump Hitler and all of his followers neo-Nazis. And the guy made a really good point. I believe it was a good point. And again, give me some latitude here for a second. But he said a lot of folks believed that killing Hitler would have been a moral act. It would have been a good thing to do, is to take that guy out. And again, who am I right now to speak on something that happened 60, 80, 100 years ago? Obviously atrocious things, obviously horrendous things with Hitler and all that mess from World War II. So disconnected, right, obviously, from all that. But nonetheless, a moral act. Well, if you're one political camp and you're calling your other opponents neo-Nazis, deplorables, And again, I don't personally see a lot of that coming from the conservative camp to the liberal camp, for what it's worth. Again, not trying to get into it today. But if you look at the language that the other side has been using against the conservative camp, and they're calling folks Nazis and Adolf Hitler, and somebody thinks, well, Hitler's a bad guy, Trump's a bad guy, I'm going to go shoot that guy, and that's a good thing. Well, that's crazy. That's crazy because, folks, here's an interesting thing. Everybody's like, I want to create a podcast. I want to create YouTube videos. I want to do whatever and put myself out there, and I want to say things. Well, depending on how impactful, persuasive, powerful, celebrityishness, profit, if you will, that you start saying things, you may gain a follower. You may gain many followers. You might gain hundreds of followers, thousands, millions of followers, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of followers. That doesn't mean that what you're saying is right or wrong or good or bad or evil, but I'll tell you what, folks, it's crazy out there. One thing I never thought is, people, and I say this super humbly, just give me some context. Let me just give some context here. You would have never thought 7-8 years ago, if you would have told me, hey, 50 to 100,000 people might want to listen to what you have to say every month. 100,000 to 1 million people might want to watch what you say and watch what you do every month. People might quit their job based on what you say or suggest. People might go to help improve or dissolve their marriage based on what you say and what you go to with a marriage conference. People might react differently with the way they manage or control their finances based off of what you say. Hey man, go into debt, buy a 10 grand mower. No big deal in some case. Maybe he's persuadable. Maybe he's impressionable. Maybe he's super strong mental fortitude and he can filter that through a brain cell and a grain of salt and make his own decisions, for sure. But folks, I'm just telling you, what you say matters. And the words that we all say matter. And the gravitas of the words that we say matters. And another great point that this individual made on the show was the rhetoric that you've seen post-Obama, post-2016, 17, 18, 19, 20 with Trump. Folks, I have personally firsthand seen it myself. Now, I'm definitely not trying to draw an analogy of an assassination attempt on Trump and myself being a YouTuber. But what I will say is that the rhetoric out there, what people are comfortable saying, what people are comfortable doing, you guys can probably imagine and relate to this, right? There has been a gross erosion of, what do you even call it? Respectability, respectfulness, civilness with human beings on this planet. And again, I'm not here to get on a soapbox. I'm just saying for a quick second, I have personally firsthand seen the dialogue, what people are willing to say, what people can say and get away with firsthand for years. And granted, you ratchet that up about 10, 20x, and then you get an assassination attempt on former presidential nominee. But my own YouTube comments, my own Instagram comments, I have seen since 2016 when I got started on YouTube, the first 4 or 5 years, pretty chill, pretty nice, pretty casual. Everybody was supportive, or even if they weren't supportive, they just dislike the video and they just move on. But I saw a dramatic change in the tone and the conversation when basically all hell broke loose when Trump became the nominee in 16, 17, 18, or whatever, right? And president. Absolutely crazy what I've seen the last 2-3 years. No holds barred. Anybody can say what they want. I've got haters and trolls that the grotesqueness that they spew from their mouth, it's not even respectable or civil or civility or agreeable, disagreeable, or just disagree or, keep it kosher. The absolute lack of moral judgment, the absolute lack of respectfulness, the absolute lack of trying to work together, even if you don't like somebody. Like I had somebody I did like, I literally said, I just don't like your content. And that person took it personal and still hasn't stopped making content saying how much they despise me. And find something to despise about me. I'm not perfect. I'm just saying, what am I putting out there that's so toxic, so bad, so evil? Oh, you just don't like me? You don't like me because we're maybe more successful in what you're trying to do. Okay, that's fair. Like, sure, there's you can emulate somebody and always appreciate what that person's doing. And there's maybe a healthy jealousy or a healthy competition. But to just go berserk is just unacceptable. And I've got people out there for whatever reason on my content that just go berserk based on what I've accomplished. Maybe you guys have people that are just lie, cheat, steal around you personally, competition because of the seething jealousy, or they just really, honestly, obviously, it comes down to they just don't want to put in the work or put in the hours or put in the dedication. Like, that's okay. But the amount of disregard that people have for their fellow man, I guess, is just what I wanted to talk about for just, 5-10 minutes here. It's absolutely ridiculous. I literally almost kind of got choked up listening to this podcast this morning, just getting some morning, news. And I'm thinking to myself, and I've said this for years, Liz knows this, I can't believe how people talk to each other. I can't believe the amount of stuff that I get hate on the internet for making YouTube videos, for talking about grass, for how I even cut grass. I mean, go to an edging video, a sharpening video, a product review video. It's not even that they don't like that product or brand. And we've never really even put ourselves in the firing line to give somebody the ammo to talk about us promoting a bad product. Find a video where I promoted a bad product. The farthest outlier, quote unquote, bad product, it's not even a bad product, it's just way outside of our wheelhouse, was the DeWalt stand-down mower. I know that might be like, how do you fully to bring this together? The DeWalt stand-down mower to Trump assassination attempt. Okay, give me a second. If I'm the master of being a wizard and a wordsmith, maybe I can do it, right? But that mower, I even said to the brand, I said, dude, you're going to have to double up the ad sponsor rate because I'm going to ding this word crazy. Because a DeWalt stand-down mower that you're going to get from Home Depot, I said, this is a tough sell. And you'll never even see anywhere in my videos me saying this is a good buy. You'll say, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. Here's what I think. I think you can go to your local dealer, spend the same 10 grand, get a Skag or an X-Mark, and have dealers support a local small business on a big box store. Nothing against Home Depot. Nothing against Stanley Black & Decker. Nothing against Cadet. Nothing against DeWalt. Some of those brands are all the same brand, if you guys know what I'm saying. But even if you vehemently disagreed with DeWalt getting into the stand-down mower marketplace or market, you're like, that's just not for me. I'd rather go buy a Skag. Yeah, exactly, no problem. But what other product have we promoted? If I promoted something that was totally bad, totally off the wall, and I got hate and trolled on it, sure, dude, totally, I would do the same thing. That guy's bought off. Hey, nice product promotion. Hey, glad you got the bag. Great job, but obviously this is a paid promotion. Nobody's ever going to use this, buy this, get this, need this. I see. My feed is that 24/7. I'm sure your guys is too. And I know a lot of influencers, a lot of YouTubers, they do stuff like that. They want to fund the business, fund the hobby, make money. They want to do whatever. And I'm never opposed to anybody doing that. For sure. But for the love of God, don't lump me in with everybody else. And I know people do, people will, and it's never going to be a perfect situation where I'm people are like, well, I hate the word influencer. I'm like, me too. Because we're not an influencer. We probably are to a corporate person in marketing that says, hey, we need an influencer in the green industry to go talk about XYZ. Okay, sure, I guess that's us because we have a quote-unquote bigger platform, arguably, in the green industry. Bigger being relative. I think I have my whole following. I think Mr. Beast earns and makes in a day, right? So it's all relative. But okay, sure, if we're an influencer, sure, I'll use that moniker. But if you ever see me at events or you ever see me anywhere saying I'm an influencer, I want you to grab me and say, Fullerton, what are you doing? You said you would never sell out, sell the soul. You know what I mean? Which is true. So let's bring it back to the top. Even if you vehemently disagreed or, trolled somebody or hated somebody, and it's justified, okay, sure. But outside of that, I still, even myself, with what I believe to be pretty, I don't want to say polished, but pretty chill, pretty neutral, pretty tame content, from reviews to content to opinions that I share, even I get the go kill yourself once a month on my comments, Instagram DMs, Instagram comment, YouTube. Legit. Liz gets, you're fat, you're ugly. Wow, looks like the baby weight never fell off. Dude, I'm not even going to repeat stuff. It's just grotesque. I've got a person trolling me hard right now and literally wants to take zero accountability and responsibility for their own actions leading to their own outcome. But somehow it's my fault. And I get 10, 15 people blasting me in DMs saying I'm a very, very choice language person. I'm thinking to myself, man, you're being lied to, you're being played, you're being manipulated. But it doesn't matter because whoever's got the louder mouth wins the narrative, right? It's frankly disgusting. It's disgusting that people would spend time DMing or emailing or whatever people. Now, if you're in the wrong, like you deserve the whatever you call it, you deserve it. And I'm not saying I'm a saint, in this regard on anything that I've ever done. Like, I feel like we've been pretty up and up. I know we've been pretty up and up. But I would just say, like, the amount of the rhetoric, just broadly speaking to a casual person, what they're willing and allowed to say, I have seen a dramatic, wild increase of hateful, hurtful language that I just, personally, I have never said, spewed, ever thought, like, would somebody would even say that? I was actually talking to a guy who, at this point, probably wouldn't have my back on anything online, but at one point you're buds, and then people have inflow, and probably based on how relevant or useful you can be for them. And I said to this individual, I said, I cannot believe people would say or do stuff like this. And the guy said, you just don't. You won't get it because you're not wired that way. And I said, well, how can people say this? And he said, some people just are willing to do that, and they are willing to say that. And there was just a little disconnect. I said 3 times, I go, how? He goes, you just don't get it. You won't get it. You don't think this way. And I'm like, oh. It kind of like clicked. I said, oh, yeah, like my brain group will never be on that side of leaving a mean comment. If I don't like something, I'll just move along. I don't care. So how does this relate back all the way to like the assassination attempt? Well, it's the rhetoric. It's the language in the political climate. It's the language maybe in some business climates that people have just somebody even said, like, I wasn't Mike Tyson or something like that. Like, I think he had an Instagram or a reel or something that he posted. Like, somebody was messing with him on an airplane, which I don't know what kind of death wish that guy had. But he was like flicking his ear or messing with him or bothering him for a photo. And Mike Tyson was traveling in commercial and just like didn't want any part of it. And the guy like was messing with him, and Mike Tyson like just racked him on the airplane, dude. Like professional boxer Mike Tyson, right? And just like destroyed this guy basically, literally like physically assaulted, like destroyed. And I don't know if it was related to that event, but Mike Tyson basically said, like, some of y'all have gotten too comfortable with saying things out loud or on the internet without any accountability. And man, there's probably no other way for me to talk about this topic that's been on my mind for, dude, years. Like 3, 4, 5 years. And I get it. If you become more successful on like a larger platform or bigger following, or you're LeBron James, hate him or love him, like, yeah, you're going to get scrutinized. But scrutinized and scrutiny and just pure hatred and vile that you spew at somebody are entirely different. The stuff that people are willing to say to their brother, sister, their mom or dad, their spouse. Look, I get it, man. Folks are tired. They're exhausted. The political climate's been crazy. 8, 10, 12 years now. People want normal. For somebody who's got elected and became president, Mr. Biden, as a moderating voice and, let's normalize things and old Joe, do you feel like the political climate atmosphere or temperature has risen or decreased? Do you feel like it's gotten crazier or less crazy? And the amount of gaslighting maybe presented to you from people at podiums, right? And look, folks, I don't care if you're liberal or Democrat, or liberal Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican, conservative. You can put that aside for a couple quick seconds and just be a genuine, honest human being, an American citizen, and say, Do you feel like it's toned up or toned down? Everything is ratcheted up. The economy's not helping. People are struggling to pay bills, buy food. And Liz and I talk about all the time in our business. It's not really been any easier the last year or two. We're trying to grow. It's very stressful. When I joke about, hey, 1 minute you make 20 grand, next minute you owe 20 grand, those aren't jokes. That's the truth. 1 minute I'm up 100, next minute I'm down 100. And I'm a nobody. You don't think that doesn't add some stress and strife to your friendships, your relationships, to your spouse? You're out of your dang mind. Yet here we are with the rhetoric that we're so comfortable calling people Hitler and Nazis. Right? I'm not saying one side's better than the other. I'm not saying one side does it more than the other, although they do. Just facts. You know, like while we're here, I'll stand on my soapbox for 2 seconds and just say facts. One side does do that more than the other. One side is calling for unity, the other one's calling for everybody else on the other side to be basically jailed. How are we getting away with saying things like that? You know, like things that you would never say just 5, maybe 10, of course 20 years ago, you can say today and almost have no accountability or recourse to it. It's just the effectiveness of communications went off the rails because people are just snipers, one shot, one kill with the words that they can use because it's so dialed in because of all the consultants over the last 20, 30 years and the leadership gurus. People know how to be more effective communicators. It's just absolutely freaking wild. And I'll just, you know, I'm not saying, you know, anybody listening to this show is guilty or whatever of anything that I'm proposing. I'm just saying we all need to take a good hard look in the mirror, a good, take a truth pill and just say, like, is this stuff that I'm doing, I'm adding to, I'm contributing to, or is this stuff that, you know, I'm doing pretty good, but let me just have a little check off from the neck up. You know, you get in a red light situation, or somebody honks the horn, you know, somebody cuts you off, somebody, you know, cuts in front of you at line at a buffet. Like, I mean, just the basic stuff. Let's just keep it real, the basic stuff. Your dealer said, hey, that part will be here Tuesday. You're losing time and money. It's not there. He said it'll be here Thursday. You lose your absolute marbles on that guy. Leave him a 1-star review. Just destroy his small business. And you think it's all justified because you don't really care. You're not thinking past a day or a week or a month. Right? If somebody says something to you, here's my rule of thumb. As somebody who's had to develop thick skin, and I don't think I really did have very thick skin getting on the social media. It's very, very challenging for me sometimes to navigate my emotions or my thoughts on YouTube because the amount of stuff people say. And even stuff that I just literally could fact check. You want to see a bank balance, a checking account balance, a W-2, what do you want? He doesn't even have a business. My business does in a month what yours does in a year. And again, I'm a nobody, but like people say stuff like that. I'm like, do you want me to just send you my tax return or like my screenshot of LMN or yard? But like, what do you want me to say? But there's no accountability, so people can just pop off at the mouth. It's absolutely wild. And I get put under the scrutiny of all of it. And you know what? I guess being up front, there's a little bit of that. But is it all justified? Absolutely not. Is it all deserved? Absolutely not. But can people just say whatever they want anonymously with zero accountability and zero recourse? Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't really just drawn the line yet between Big Brother and censorship and freedom of speech. But there's folks that have proposed, hey, like, if you want to say something online, it has to be linked back to who you are in real life. There's an element of that I absolutely love. Because I've got receipts for 7-8 years of people who have said really, really mean things that I would love to go back to on a defamation case or a whatever you want case that have absolutely hurt my family, my income, my life, you know, my employees. I got people that hate on me on YouTube and go leave a 1-star Google review. And that 1-star Google review, somebody is going to go drop 20 grand with a commercial site maintenance company. They decide to go otherwise somewhere else. And that affects not only my income, but I've got four or five full-time guys now working for us. And that affects their family's income. That's why I was talking about, like, Google reviews are sacred. Like, even if you despise somebody, think twice, would you please? And that's the absolute truth of the matter. People did not do that 10, 20 years ago. And 100% it's stemming from the political scene. Oh my gosh, it's absolute wild. It's a huge pandemic. It's a real pandemic of the way we talk to each other, the way we think about your fellow man, right? Like if God created man and God created everybody and made him in his image, and then you said, F that guy, he's a piece of shit. Do you think God's making piece of shit human beings? Like, dude, you have no moral high ground to talk about or talk to or to think about somebody like that. You'll never hear me say that because I got that a long time ago. I 100%, and even this one guy that, was trolling me a year ago or 6 months ago, I said, no, I just don't like you. I just don't like you. It's not even you. I just don't like your content. It's freaking annoying. And that person says, oh, I don't like you. This guy's a piece of shit. I just said I don't like your content. I don't even know you. I've never even talked to you. How am I supposed to know you? But I know your content. I don't like your content. Right? That's the difference. And I'm not saying I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form. There's people I'm sure I'm like, I hate that guy. Well, hate's a strong word. But I've had to really, again, you know when you guys hear me say, I don't have it all figured out for you, but I have a lot of it or all of it figured out for me. Like I've had to really, on a 0 to 20, like it's called like melancholy, or sanguine or choleric or phlegmatic for personalities out there that wire that way, or DISC and all these different things. I've taken all these folks. Like I was a mentally messed up human being. Like I was broken. I came from very far back. I was not put together when I was 18, 19, 20. And I've had to read and put Humpty Dumpty back together. And I have literally had to write it out. What's my viewpoint? What's my stance on this topic or this item? And I've had to say, this is my philosophy of do's and don'ts. I've had to come up with that operating manual. So go figure, a lot of it's spiritually, religiously, biblically based. So I think it's a really good foundation and platform for anybody out there. But I've had to come to terms with, how do I feel about hate? How do I feel about this? How do I feel about money? How do I feel about borrowing money? How do I feel about keeping money? How do I feel about investing? How do I feel about people? How do I feel about that guy, that girl, their relationship, their status, their words, their choice, their political beliefs? What do I do? How do I respond? Right? Like, outside of cutting grass, outside of making money, outside of paying bills, outside of wondering what I want for dinner. Like, I've had to figure out how I want to navigate. And also, I've been put in positions, being out front a little bit with social media and YouTube and Instagram and podcasting. Like, I've had to be a good listener. I've had to really discern what's going on with humanity and people. I've had to be a great listener. By design, by force, when you're podcasting or Instagram or feedback or learning. It's been a very, very challenging and difficult experience for myself this last couple of years, But I would just say, like, the rhetoric that I've said, the rhetoric that people say to me, the rhetoric that's being used in the political space, you can see what it's leading to. Folks, and this is like, mild stuff. This isn't even ugly. This is like whatever's just a couple notches past inconvenient, right? Like this is wrong. It's bad, but this isn't even ugly or terrible, right? And it's just, I don't know. It's just absolutely crazy to me that one, there's an assassination attempt on a presidential candidate. Like this is the Republic. This is a democratic republic. It's not a democracy, right? This is something that we vote and we make change based on our words, yes, but our vote even more. And if you don't like something, run to fix it. And find people that have your support and build a coalition and then go win. And that's how you make change. We don't do it by zipping bullets across the political spectrum at each other or on YouTube. You don't like somebody? Here's a tip. You don't have to say out loud, I don't like that guy. Just quietly disagree and move on. Vote with your lack of giving somebody attention. Vote with your lack of giving somebody exposure. Vote with your lack of giving somebody the time of day. Vote with lack of spending your money with that person. The marketplace is the arbiter of truth. It does decide. So when I got people popping up in the mouth saying how much they despise and hate me, and I get 10 DMs saying you're a piece of junk, and I've got 100 DMs saying, dude, we got your back, and that guy's a clown. Like, dude, the marketplace is already decided. I don't have to sway the marketplace. You'll never see me respond or rebuttal to anything because I am not playing their game. I don't need to. I don't have to because I'm playing my game. Does that make sense? You're not going to get my goose. You're not going to grab my mental. You think I've been doing this 7, 8 years and not learned a couple things along the way? Give me a break. Fullerton, why are you so solid? Fullerton, why do you always have something to say on the podcast? Fullerton, why can you just keep on keeping on? Fullerton, you're built different. No, none of the above. I just think differently because I knew that I had to get control of the thoughts in my brain, and that's been the hardest thing to do of any human being. Like an Olympian, poor performance or not, it's their thoughts are going to help them win and get back up on the horse for their next at-bat, their next performance. It's all mental. And I'll just say, like, I have seen how weak mentally so many human beings are because of the amount of rhetoric and the language that they're using and how uncontrolled, how not in control of their emotions, their feelings, and their words that they really are. And if you're not in control of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your actions, and somebody else says, what does that make you? A puppet. It makes you a puppet, bro. And it just shows how easily manipulated you are. And then when somebody who actually has some perspective goes, man, that guy, he's being controlled, manipulated, lied to, he doesn't even know it. And you just have empathy for that human being. And you pray for that individual. And you get up over the circumstances. And you just go, wow, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Right? They have scales on their ears and eyes. And that's why Liz and I pray all the time, Lord, give us the wisdom of both God and man to make better choices and right decisions every single day. This is big boy stuff, folks. If you don't take 5 seconds and stop and dwell on the fact that the presidential nominee of the United States of America was just assassinated, attempted murdered, and just take 30 seconds and not just say, holy shit, that's just another Chiron on, the news channel that you listen to. It's not just another relevant, urgent tip or topic of the day or thing of the day or current event. If you don't stop and say, what are we going to do to heal as a country, at least this time, then I don't know what else to tell you, man. It got my goat this morning. I'm not distraught, but it did make me reflect. And I just challenged you, listening today, to maybe reflect. Can we bring this country together? I don't even know if we can. I'm a very optimistic, positive individual. I will tell you honestly, I don't even know if we can. Because it's just crazy how divisive and a divide that's been created and that our country is this last 10, 12 years. It's almost at the breaking point where I don't know if people can bring it back together. Almost maybe by design. Right? If you look at something, you go, man, that's like a really weird situation. Like, what a coincidence. Or, oh my God, it's all being orchestrated. Maybe it's all by design. And you're just being played. You're like a cat playing with a mouse, half-dead mouse. The difference here is that we're all the mouse. Maybe things are all happening because they're orchestrated. And it really gets your brain thinking, going, oh my God, am I being manipulated? I don't know. Right? Like, you got to keep your head on a swivel. You have to think. You have to evaluate. You have to discern what the hell's going on. I will just tell you guys, one thing that's really helped me a long time was I read it in a book. It said, the rookie mistake is to think negative first and positive second. Somebody doesn't get back to you. Somebody makes a mean comment. Somebody says, or writes something or says something or does something or somebody gets back to you and you go, well, why would they do that? And you're like, I thought that dude had my back. I thought that guy liked me. I thought that guy, well, that's weird. That can be interpreted a couple of different ways. What does he mean by that? The negative is to think negative first and positive second. I'll always give people the benefit of the doubt, probably to a fault, right? If somebody's like, screw that guy, I'll just say, hey man, thanks for the shout out. Which is in fact what happened when people are bashing me. My content grew the most my second, third year doing YouTube because I got bashed every single day for 2 years from one individual. And more lately, I'm getting bashed every single day from 2 other individuals. My content continues to grow. Thank you. You're welcome. Love you. Appreciate it. High five. I will not be sending a compensatory check for any of my future earnings, but thank you for the shout out. Thank you for working for me for free. You're being played. Not because I'm trying to play you. I'm just saying you're playing yourself. Oh my God. And again, your boy here isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I've learned a couple things along the way. Trump card. Some people are playing chess, some people are playing checkers, okay? I'll just tell you guys, what a wild last 24, 48 hours, depending on when you guys are listening to this. Don't take it light. Let's all take some responsibility here in some way, shape, or form for what we can do to notice the rhetoric in the marketplace. Everybody's just yelling at each other, screaming. People say stuff on the internet and social media that they would never in 100 years say in real life. Wouldn't even know how to say it. There's things I've learned that I didn't even know what that is until I saw it on the internet. Right? Like, wow, I've never even heard a word sound like that. That's an effective one. I'm going to call that next guy that I don't like that because I don't really get him. And we're just all like learning how to be more evil, more negative, more toxic, and more effective at it. Right? I mean, guys, think about it. Like, is your content in your feed that you're digesting, like, that gets pumped and pushed to you? Let me put it that way. Things that get pushed and surfaced to you, is it always more positive stuff or more negative stuff? It's always more negative. It's always more salacious. You know, yellow page journalism. Extra, extra, read all about it. Right? I mean, think of the YouTube videos that get promoted to you. Are they 5 ways to have a better life in business, or employee quit, homeowner said this, dead body something, crazy stuff? And they're all complicit. Everybody's in the same boat. And I'm not coming here on a moral high ground. I'm just saying I have kept the pulse. I can get the macro. I'm not super good at nuance sometimes, but I can get the macro about what's working, what's not working. And that's why my content's on YouTube doesn't get surfaced as much as other people, because you'll never see me title a video like that. Well, Fullerton would help you with the views and help you with the algorithm. Yeah, but I can't sleep well at night titling a video that way. Sorry. If I have to take a financial hit in the pocketbook, I will. If that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. I'm not playing their game. I'll play my game. And I learned a long time ago that, being my computer nerd video game days, playing the bad guy is always fun. But playing the good guy that defeats the bad guy, that's 10 times more fun. Let me say it one more time. Playing the bad guy is fun. But playing the good guy that fights and defeats the bad guy is always 10 times more fun, because you're usually likely going to be the underdog, not the bad guy. The bad guy's got the cool guns, the big army, the newest tech, and always an angle. That's why he thinks he can beat the good guy. The good guy stands on truth. The good guy stands on principle. The good guy stands on the fact that good will always beat bad. An analogy that stuck with me, and the last thing I'll say is, there's not enough darkness that can ever consume light. But a single match inside a room can light up a whole dark room. There's not enough of a dark room that can pull out all the light of a match. And don't give me this black hole bullshit. There's some of you guys that are too smart, too smug. Okay? A single match can light up a whole room, no matter how dark it is, but a whole dark room can't extinguish a match. And we need to be lights in the darkness. This is a heavy topic. This is a heavy podcast. I hope it gives you some things to think about today. I hope it sparks a conversation with you, a friend, a neighbor, a relative. If you got ill will or something that's just toxic, let it go. Forgive, forget, move on. It's not doing anybody any good. Let's watch our rhetoric. Let's heal. Let's show compassion and love. And let's always lead with trying to help people. All right. So what we got for you guys in today's podcast. I thought this would be a 10, 15-minute, short and sweet. You guys know how that goes. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Praying for the Bidens, praying for Trump, pray for your president. Hate him or like him, doesn't matter. He's your president. Not my president. Well, yes, he is. I've never said that. Do I like him? Nope. Is he my guy? Nope. Do you like my guy? Nope. It's fine. But we can be respectful. We can agree on 70, 80% of the way this country should run together, because we all do have the same American dream. We do have the same dream and vision for this country. How we get there is a little different, for sure. But we have to find more that unites us than divides us. It is the United States of America. Love you guys. Have a great day. We'll catch up with you on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.